In the 21st century, the third big project of humankind will be to acquire for us divine powers of creation and destruction. When I found out that Blake Crouch was quoting Yuval Noah Harari in his latest book, Upgrade, I got very excited. But did the book live up to my expectations? Hello and welcome to Larry Has Opinions. Before we start, usual disclaimer, I got a free copy of the book from the publisher in exchange for an honest review. This is the sixth book that I've read by Blake Crouch, and I have to say that I've always enjoyed his fast-paced mix of science fiction and thriller stories. And for that reason, he's become one of my auto-buy authors, if you like. And Upgrade very much falls into the same genre. The book is all set a few decades in the future, in the mid-21st century. And we follow Logan, who's an agent for the GPA, which is a sort of new type of FBI that will have been set up in the future. But unlike the FBI, it's dedicated to investigating and prosecuting crimes related to genetic engineering, something that will have become illegal in the future because of some trivial event that caused the death of a few dozen million people, things that can happen. And genetic modifications play a big role in the story, and we get to see what an upgraded human being would look like, but also some of the moral and ethical considerations that will surround this technology. Something that, even from the world of today, we can definitely see on the horizon as something that is quite likely to establish itself in a sort of not too far future. The strongest aspect of the book for me was the world building. It always feels a very realistic depiction of what our future could look like. And obviously we can't really say if it's going to be an accurate prediction, but it always feels very, very plausible. And it's this world where you have these relatively well-intentioned groups of people. One that is the group that Logan, our main character, belongs to, who supports this ban of genetic engineering given the bad events that were collateral damage to this technology. But also you have the other group that sort of thinks that you can't just stop progress and technological scientific research should just continue. And one of the things I also liked as well is how Crouch described the effects of climate change. I think a few times some authors can get a bit carried away with describing climate change as a completely apocalyptic event, whereas Crouch really shows a lot of these pretty tragic and harmful and meaningful effects of climate change, but also still a world where people just carry on with their lives. The prose and the pace are very typically Crouch, very straightforward, very snappy, very fast moving. I know some people find his style a bit annoying with his repeated short sentences, but on the other hand, I think it has no pretense of being some sort of literary masterpiece. So while this might not be to everybody's taste, I really have no complaints in that respect. He really delves into some really technical scientific concepts that might easily go over your head. But on the other hand, I think the key concepts that he describes are very intuitive to follow, and I don't think that should put anybody off from reading the book. So unfortunately, what let me down a little bit was the plot. I've always enjoyed Blake Crouch's books because the stories were always a little bit convoluted in a good way. You always try to figure out what's happening, but you can't just do it yourself, so you're waiting for that big reveal where suddenly everything will start to make sense. And here in Upgrade, I just found it a little bit too linear and a little bit too predictable. So I have to say it fell a little bit flat for me. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed it. It was very easy to get through, quite engaging with some flowers for Algernon vibes. But on the other hand, I'm not sure it quite lived up to my expectations that the author set with his other works. So it's a tricky one to recommend because if you've never read anything by Blake Crouch, I think there are better books that you could pick up. Pine's probably my favorite. And if you're a fan of his older books, I'm not quite sure this clears the same bar, the same standard that he set with his previous works. So make of that what you will, but that was my impression. So for these reasons, my rating for this book is 7 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this book, if you've read it or if you want to read it. I know I haven't been posting regularly, but if you want to keep in touch, I'm always active on Discord and on my Goodreads profiles. The links for both are in the description box. I hope you guys like this video and I'll see you the next time.